Do I do what's up? No.
My goal is to try to get people who can't understand where we're coming from, where you see what's going on in the world right now. I panicked a little bit.
Hey man, I'm bringing back the old days.
But I was always ready to go. Like, oh, anytime you show up to the party with this, it better be drink. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Men and Meats podcast. Another sports time for you guys.
Sports time.
Sports time. We're back again. I think today we don't have Anthony joining us, so obviously we don't have too much on the plate.
No, this
tonight.
is gonna be action packed.
It's gonna be action packed,
Hey,
but
Dodgers MLB is back.
MLB is back.
Preseason
yeah, I
or
didn't think
training or whatever count.
spring training.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were gonna get into baseball talk because
I got you, dude.
but you're wearing the right hat tonight, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's sports time.
I don't even know what it is, but
You have no idea, huh?
I just put it on.
Check the YouTube. So make sure you guys going over to the Instagram page, checking out Sports Time on there. Make sure you guys are following us on Instagram at Men and Means Podcast. If you're not, you're missing out.
Yeah. Yeah, you're missing out quite a bit. There's a lot of content.
So one of the things that's happening tonight is we have LeBron and Kyrie facing off.
Big brother, little brother.
Yeah, pretty much. You got Kyrie trying to step out of the shadow, and he's gone on this whole path of, trying to make his own name, his own legacy.
He's had some issues of his own in doing so.
It's been a rocky, 3 years, 4 years for him?
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I know that this is a matchup the NBA wants, right? Because this could be.
Well, they'll sell it.
Well, I mean, if everything goes well, right, we want the Lakers to be there. And everybody's saying the Nets are championship or bust. So
yeah, I'd agree with that.
So this one has a lot of finals implications. So that obviously, and then you got the whole way that it ended with Kyrie and LeBron, how that little duo ended. It was a good duo in Cleveland.
Yeah, they won a
They
championship.
fucking won a championship. But they just couldn't, see eye to eye.
Well, I think Kyrie just kind of wanted to go out and do his own thing. You know what I mean? It reminds me of the Kobe and Shaq situation. You know what I mean? I think at some point you have two top tier competitors. To be the best, you got to beat the best. And so if you're on the team with the best, you can't. You know what I mean? How it's Jordan and Pippen kind of vibes, things like that. You don't really want to fall into that. You know what I mean? I think if that's the level that you want to be at, you got to go try to get on your own. And then basically bring James Harden and Kevin Durant and you say, hey, I'll do it with you guys instead. If you don't get what I'm getting at there, you're not really doing it on your own anyway.
Yeah, not really. He spent time in Boston, and he wanted to go play there. It just wasn't what he thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
Boston's not looking too good this year.
No.
I actually like seeing them play. So when they were playing well, I liked it. And they played really well. I think they went to the Eastern Conference Finals that first year. Kyrie was there, but he was hurt. Then the second year they came back, they didn't really do so well. And then they went, I think, to the Eastern Conference again this year against the Raptors in the bubble. And they
Who?
No, they went up against the Heat.
Who did?
The Celtics. The Celtics went up against the Heat in Eastern Conference in the
The
bubble.
Bucks
right?
did.
No, the Bucks fucking, they completely didn't show up.
You could tell we put a lot of effort into that.
Yeah, no, yeah, but tonight, obviously, I think the better team, the more dominant team is obviously going to be LeBron.
Yeah.
I think AD's out. I think KD's out. So it's going to be kind of like 1-on-1. I think you got James Harden in the lineup, but I think LeBron. He just has
AD's
that.
out.
Yeah, AD's out and KD's out. I think.
Yeah. So
So-
the D's are out.
Yeah.
Double D's.
The double D's are not in the game, so we'll see how that game turns out.
Yeah. My money's on LeBron and the Lakers. I just think LeBron's playing championship basketball right now, man. He's closing out games. He's doing his thing, man. It's kind of just who you expect to see. Couple with overtime wins and things like that. He's been knocking out. He's played more minutes than I think damn near anyone in the league, which is I don't know how good that is long run, but in the short term, at least you're winning. You're getting yourself in a position to be somewhere. So, and if anyone can do it, it's probably LeBron. This guy's spending millions of dollars to keep himself in shape. So fucking that's your money work,
Yeah, and I think I know that comes up every year, his minutes, but every year he seems to prove everybody that he can last and put those minutes on. And obviously he's had a few nights off this year, so it's not like he's still putting in a lot of minutes, closing out games, like you said, playing at an MVP level. He's in the race for that. But yeah, so I think I give it to Lakers as well.
Yeah.
I don't think the Nets are really got their team chemistry down yet. So I think that the Lakers are gonna obviously pull this one out.
Okay.
So I'm giving it to the Lakers.
Well, kind of staying in the basketball world a little bit there, man. Draymond Green recently came out with some comments in regards to kind of the way
There you go.
the bias between players and organizations is. How come it's okay for an organization to trade a player basically fucking right during the middle of a game? You know what I mean? To the point where he walks in the locker room and it's like, oh, nah, dude,
Don't get dressed.
You have the team. You know what I mean? Why is that okay? Why don't they have to demonstrate any level of professionalism? Whereas when a player wants to leave a team, they are supposed to remain quiet about it. They're not supposed to make any comments of it. They are supposed to just sit there and be obedient to the organization. And quite frankly, I couldn't agree more. I think in the world we live in, freedom of speech is one of your rights. You're being an American citizen. If you're not happy with something, you have the right to say so. And don't get me wrong, I know these guys make a lot of money, are paid well. I do understand that. But I think at the end of the day, they are people. I think they put a lot of effort into getting themselves to this level. A lot of dedication, taking themselves away from a lot of things that they could have done. And if they're not happy in a situation, I think they should be and be professional in how you voice it, but you can voice it.
Right. Well, and I definitely agree. I think that we always look at the organization making these decisions, and we support players making their decisions. Now, I'm more of a guy who would support somebody who's coming up on free agency that says, hey, I'm not re-signing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm leaving. Yeah, you can offer me the Supermax because obviously that's one of the deals. That one franchise can offer you the Supermax, pay you more than the other team.
Mm-hmm.
You still want to leave, that's fine. Those are, I think, points in your career where you can make those choices to like just leave. Or, I mean, you can request a trade anytime, but it's not always going to happen, right?
Fair enough.
But the other thing is, I think the reason why it's different is because when the organization trades you, the other team is like, hey, that's my guy. So if I'm trading you away to a different podcast and you come out here and you act a fucking fool or you hurt yourself, that other team is like, hey, you're supposed to come and play for us. Don't get hurt because there's risk of injury. There's a risk that could happen any night, right? So I think that the organization, obviously, they don't want you to play. So it's not like they're going to let you finish the game or go, yeah, play tonight, you leave tomorrow or whatever it is. So the organization looks at you as an asset. So they're protecting their assets, which I don't think is 100% wrong. But here's where I will say Draymond called out the fact that James Harden went through the same thing and was crucified.
Yep.
But here's the difference for me. Everybody that's on the Rockets roster, right? The other guys in the locker room, he was causing them so much dysfunction and turmoil because he didn't want to play. He didn't want to play with them. And they were having to sit there in limbo, like, is he gonna fucking practice? Is he gonna suit up? Is he gonna come for you know?
It's gonna be a Magic
like,
City again. Or?
Yeah, like preseason. Like, what's he doing? You know, I get he doesn't want to play here, but at the same time, you're still part of the organization. The trades have not happened yet. You're getting paid to play for this team. These other guys are expecting you to go out, suit up, and go ball. Like, just go and play. And these are guys that are your friends. Some of them are your friends. So I understand why there's this double standard, but I think Draymond voicing his opinion, I think that's exactly where it should be. I think Draymond as a player has that perspective of a player and can voice it, call out organizations. I think that's where it really makes the most sense, right? For us to call it out, we're fans.
Yeah.
Because I mean, we will crucify a guy if you're a Houston fan, you're going to crucify James Harden regardless. It's not about the locker room. It's simply that he's not dressing up and going out there and playing for your city.
Well, I mean, it's the same as Kawhi Leonard when he left the Spurs, right? I mean, they villainized him. They made him seem like he was the worst guy in the world because he wanted to sit in games and make sure he was healthy and do things like that. And you know, the fan base and things, the critics and all of that really just kind of tore him to pieces. And then he left and won a championship. So, you know, you could turn that narrative around, I think, too. You know what I mean? I think first, us as humans anyway, man, again, that's why I come back to the point. Players are humans. Organizations are a group of people making a decision based on financial gain. You know what I mean? Like, let's just understand that. Like, that's, and I'm not saying the players aren't. I think they are, but I think they're looking at it as, and from a fan's perspective, we should probably side with the player more because you know what I mean. If they're trying to keep themselves healthy, they want to be in a situation where they can win, somewhere their chemistry is good with other players, things like that. Rarely do you see. No one's asking for a trade to get paid more. It's not going to happen, right? Like that's not how it works. So they're trying to put themselves in a better position to have some longevity in their careers and things. So from a fan base, I would say we should probably side with the player most of the time anyway. But you know,
and I generally do. I generally do side with the player more.
yeah, I'm just not a Harden fan. So
Right. I'm not a Harden fan either because I don't think that he needs to run from the pressure of being able to be that guy to go and play on a super team. Like I get he wants to leave and that's fine. And I typically do side with the player, but you're right. We look at it, and the funny thing about sports is like they win a championship, it raises the value of your franchise. There's a lot of people who like sports, don't know the GM, don't know the owners until they win a finals. All of a sudden, who are they handing the trophy to first?
Yeah.
The owner, then the GM gets it, then the coach or the star. Like that's for the organization. So obviously they're gonna put all their investment is in that. That's their one goal. They win a championship, the GM gets credit for putting it together. When it's not always the case, but I do like that he called him out because I mean, who else is gonna say it from that perspective, right? You don't have many guys coming out and saying it. It was cool to see Draymond go out there and say that.
yeah, Draymond's the guy to do that though. I mean, I think even on the court he has that kind of persona, that kind of like enforcer. You know, like I'll take on the shit that you guys don't have to. So yeah, it suits him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I kind of want to talk tonight about Julius Randle. Julius Randle used to be with the Lakers during the D'Angelo Russell period. And he started developing a real nice game inside. He was able to shoot, kind of handle the ball a little bit. And then he went to New Orleans. Played I think with AD last season. And they looked pretty good, and he had a great year that year. But I just saw a stat come up on Instagram, like, I don't know, 2 days ago maybe, but these stats are pretty relevant. But I'm just going to compare them. So he has more points per game than Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis, obviously, I mean, there's time management happening there. So he's at 23.1%, 23.1 points per game. AD's at 22.5. He has more rebounds than Embiid. So he's sitting at 11 rebounds, Embiid at 10.8. He has a higher 3-point percentage than Damian Lillard at 40%. Now,
Shoots less.
I get he shoots less, but at the same time, for him to knock down 40% of his threes is actually pretty damn good. He doesn't have much help in the Knicks, but I think it was a pretty good damn base to start with. I know KD and Kyrie both turned down New York, but I mean the guy has developed, and I think he's in his 7th season now. He's finally starting to be that player that I think he started becoming with the Lakers. So it was cool to see him kind of develop his game and get into that higher. You know, he's not a top tier player, but it's nice to see him be productive like this.
Yeah, he kind of reminds me of like a Trevor Ariza. Like I used to be like, he was never going to be the big guy on the team, like the big name, but I thought he added a lot of value. I thought he was overall a good player, and you can see he developed and continued to do so. Yeah, I don't know. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't got much to say about the Knicks, anyways. But I do want to move over to the Heat. So I think it was a couple days ago the Warriors beat the Heat in overtime, and we talk about the Warriors being like not that good. Obviously, they you don't have Klay Thompson, but they're sitting at 16-3, 7th in the West, and I think that was yesterday. So it could have but I didn't realize. Number one, I did, but they were 7th in the West. But then over here on the Heat, they're 11th in the East, sitting at 11-17. So it's like I wasn't sold on the Heat when they were in the bubble. Like, and I just want to point out the reason I want to bring up the Heat is because you have guys like Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero that the league was so desperately trying to pump up, trying to push up as like, oh, these fucking guys are stars in this league. When I don't think it was the case, because you're getting production from Jimmy Butler, but these other guys that they wanted to say were part of his cast and crew, like that were going to go out there and compete in the East, so far they've been who they were last year, which was kind of like that middle of the road team. It's like they're not really impressive. So I don't know what everybody was thinking with the Heat. I'm keeping track of all the things that I've talked shit about from last season, and kind of just trying to check on the progress report. So because for the Heat, they don't look that impressive. To be sitting 11th in the East, not that great.
Yeah. I think we even said it then. Like I didn't think that he were a great team at all. I think the bubble probably played a role in it. You know what I mean? And kind of just that being confined like that. No home advantage, none of those things.
No
you know what I
pressure.
mean? Yeah. And pressure plays a big role too. I think if you're not expected to do a lot, you're just going out there and just letting it fly. But now you just, competed for a championship. The pressure's on. You know what I mean? Like your organization's looking at you like, hey, yeah, we should be able to get there. And they won't, and it'll be fine. But that's their situation now.
Yeah, and you got Jimmy Butler. Like he'll go out and ball, right? He'll go and scrap a good game together, but he's not really been one to go back-to-back nights.
He's
and
not
carry the team.
He's not going to carry a team to a championship.
Right.
I mean, I guess he did, right? But
No, he
well,
didn't.
not to a championship,
No.
but to play for one. Whatever.
Yeah, they didn't. They're not looking too good right now.
No, yeah. What about the Jazz?
Okay, are the Jazz for real?
Yeah.
Are the Jazz for real? Do you think they're for
No.
real? No.
No, I think a lot of teams have done very well in the regular season, and then, playoffs is a different story. When the pressure's on, it's a different story. We've seen that many times. I think they'll be in the playoffs, but I imagine they'll get eliminated fairly, and especially it just depends on who they play in matchups, I guess. But yeah, I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to the finals.
Well, I mean, if they keep this up, I mean, they'll be seated pretty high,
Yeah,
so they'll play someone that's seated pretty low.
but out of the West, and so then
it's
that's
tough.
yeah,
It's tough. Top 1 through 8 is pretty
Yeah,
tough,
that's what I'm
right?
saying,
Night in,
so-
night out. But I hope that Donovan Mitchell is hitting that next step, like, because I think that he's at the point of his career where it's like you got to take that next step and push deep into the playoffs, maybe make a Western Conference Final appearance at the least. Otherwise, you're talking about someone like Donovan Mitchell. You're talking about someone like Rudy Gobert, who he's won personal accolades, right? He's won Defensive Player of the Year, I
Yeah.
think, twice. He's a good player. They got a good system there, and they have playoff experience. So when you play in the West, you're good. It's just when are you good? Are you good in the playoffs? Are you good regular season, like you said? But I'm hoping to see the Jazz at least continue this and then give us some good basketball in the West, because obviously the Rockets are not going to be there. So some of these top 5 teams, the Warriors, are obviously going to skate barely into the playoffs if they make it.
Well,
So
I think the Warriors could beat the Jazz.
no, I think a 7-game series, I don't think they can.
Yeah, I think they can.
I think they can win 2 games, but I think in a 7-game series with just Steph,
Yeah, I think they.
I don't
still
think
can.
so. And especially because Steve Kerr already came out and said we're not going to overuse Steph just for wins, because there's no
In the playoffs, they
in-
would.
in the playoffs
Yeah.
they would,
So
but can he do it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think he beat them.
I don't know. We'll see. There's just not enough talent, not enough experience right now in the Warriors, in my opinion, as far as
I
that
get what you're saying.
deeper in the playoffs go. So, yeah, and I think that we'll go ahead and wrap this one up.
You know what?
You got anything else?
The Kings are rolling. Shout out to the LA Kings. I don't have more info yet, but next week we'll have some hockey stats.
More info coming.
Yeah, shout out to you, Matthew. That's it.
Okay.
Travis, do you want to add anything?
Go Kings.
There we go.
All right, guys.
All right, thanks for joining us. Anthony, we need you, so stop letting us hang over here. Yeah, man, we appreciate your time. Thank you guys. As always, man, like, share, subscribe, follow, comment. I think that's all you can do. So or don't, if you don't want to. It's cool. Anyway, thank you guys. Appreciate your time.
All right. See ya.